You are not respecting the most valuable resource that you can ever have. Stop. You've already heard that time is valuable. You know that time is valuable. You know that it's a appreciating asset that is limited in resource. Let that sink in. It's exactly the same as gold. In fact, it is more valuable than gold, but you waste it constantly. This cannot go on. By the end of this video, you are going to care about your time and you're going to have the tools that you need to actually manage your time as somebody with ADHD and an executive function disorder and a symptom that causes time blindness. You are worse at managing your time than a normal person. You need to care about managing your time, or because of your dysfunction, it's all going to leave you. I want you to think about how much time in your life you've already wasted doing things you didn't really want to be doing things you didn't actually care about, that didn't move the needle. It sucks. And it's not fully your fault because, again, you have ADHD, you have executive dysfunctions, you're more like allergic to discipline, it hurts your brain more because you don't have dopamine, at least as much dopamine as other people. You're more emotionally sensitive, you can't really sense time. The way that ADHD time blindness works, because our executive control network, which is part of our brain that is messed up with ADHD, it's the part that does the executive functioning. Since that's sort of offline or kind of sleepy, drowsy, your brain isn't managing or paying attention to time like other people. And because you live this way your whole life, the way that you perceive time as somebody with ADHD is something is happening either now or not now. Those are the only two categories. It's either not happening right now or it's happening right now. And that is why you spiral sometimes when you're thinking about the future, because to your brain, the future is now. It's happening now. You're thinking about it, and therefore you have to do something about it now. This is why when you have to wait on something, you'll oftentimes just sit there and do nothing and literally wait instead of going and doing another task while you're waiting. It's because your brain is afraid and it doesn't really understand time the same way a normal person's does. All you know is that if you move from this spot and you don't wait for the specific thing that you're trying to do, there's a high likelihood that you're going to forget. And if you forget, then something bad will happen and you will be sad. So what your brain tells you is, I just need to sit here and I need to wait. This is called ADHD waiting mode. But this is obviously a waste of time. When you wind up scrolling for hours, this is obviously a waste of time. When you wind up going down a YouTube rabbit hole and just binge watching videos for hours and hours on something that's not actually a problem immediately, right now, you're wasting time. When you're pacing around in your room having imaginary scenarios about talking to somebody instead of actually going and just talking to them off the rip, this is wasting your time, your precious, valuable resource. I want you to think about every hour in your life as corresponding to a 24-karat gold brick. That's how valuable your time is. You only get one life. It genuinely should scare you into sobriety that you only have so much time in your life. You're going to pass away just like everybody else, and this is the one chance you get to spend your time wisely. It is a precious, precious resource that nobody is respecting of you, and you are not respecting of yourself. So yes, it's not your fault that you have time blindness. It's not your fault that you have executive dysfunctions which get in the way, which distract you, which make you go down rabbit holes. That's not entirely your fault. But from here on out, if you don't do something about it, it is. So what do I do about it? I'm going to give you the system that actually works. This is the entire time stack that I teach people in my coaching. This is it. This is the entire stack. Super, super easy. Google Calendar is your best friend when you have ADHD. You will not remember that appointment. You will not remember to go text that friend. You will not remember any of these little things that you're supposed to remember, or even the big things you're supposed to remember. I don't know how many times I've missed something that I wanted to attend, something that I was literally excited for, and it just didn't work out because I forgot. Writing it down doesn't help. All it's going to make you do is feel even more stupid when you forget next time. This is what actually works. You need to make it so that you never have to think about time-related things again. At least appointments or things that are going to happen at certain times. So the way that most people use Google Calendar is they try and make a gigantic schedule and they have like all these different things and they try to make like a super routine. Doesn't work. Don't do it. You have ADHD. You're going to rebel against that amount of structure. You're going to hate it. And even if you don't, you're going to forget and your brain is basically going to flag it as this isn't important. He's not going to listen to it. We don't care. Go chase the shiny object. So what you actually need is for your day to be extremely, extremely simple. And Google Calendar is going to help you do that. Because Google Calendar has notifications, so you don't have to set alarms anymore. You can just have default notifications for every time you create an event or a reminder in Google Calendar. It has a booking link so that it's extremely easy to meet with people without doing the whole time zone, what time works for you, what time works for this, what's going on. All you have to do is give them your link. It only lets them pick times where they're not busy and that work for you, and then you're just good. You can just have the meeting, which, by the way, Google Meet is very good. I personally think it's better than Zoom. You can have multiple calendars if you need to. As a matter of fact, don't even have a second calendar. The only time something goes on your calendar is if it's important. If it's not really that important, literally just allow yourself the freedom to forget it. This is another way you're going to save time by not trying to even remember certain things that aren't really worth your time. You can also use Google Calendar to schedule windows of focus for the future if need be. But what I like a lot better than that is theming your days. You can use Google Calendar to theme your days, and this is how. So theming your days is really, really good for the ADHD brain because now you've removed all management and like mental juggling, so your working memory, which sucks, doesn't have to deal with trying to remember things and manage them. We're making it extremely simple by just saying, today is the day for this. That is what the entire day is for. Everything that is not focused work. Everything that is me being on track. That makes it so simple. Not, let's do this here, and then let's do this here, and then maybe we can do some of this over here. That is not focus. And the fact of the matter is, every time you context switch, that is a mental drain on you. Context switching is one of the most draining tasks a human can do. On top of this, there is management overhead that comes from switching. Every time you have to remember, every time you have to go and pull up that old file, every time you have to get back up to speed or go and grab this or go and do that, there's a hidden cost to doing a lot in a day. And this is why it's bad to be busy. It is not productive to be busy. Batch work is your friend. Batch work removes all of these hidden costs, being extreme. And so what you're going to do is you're going to theme your day. And I'm going to give you an example. So right now, for me, today is content day. What am I doing today? Only content. I'm going to sit here and record videos, and then I'm going to record shorts, and then I'm going to edit videos, and that's what I'm going to do. There's nothing else on the plate for today. The only time I'm allowed to do anything else, and I do recommend doing this just because you have ADHD, and if you try to do this extreme amount of focus, at least at first, it's not going to be good for you. Your brain needs a little bit of ice cream. It will get bored of doing this. That's the truth. So what I do is I say noon is my clock in time, where that's when I'm supposed to be working, not just productive, working. They're different. And midnight is my clock out time. And this works for me because when you have ADHD, you oftentimes have a delayed circadian rhythm. I know I do, which means that midnight to like 3 a.m. is oftentimes my most productive time of the day. That's when I like to work on my more personal projects anyways, because this is sort of when I'm like in the zone and alive. So you're going to set a default for your days. And I wouldn't make this the same every single week because the reality is life is just too dynamic. What you're going to do is you're going to pick what the default is at the start of every week. And guess what? Sometimes it's just going to change and you're just going to have to change the plan, and that's fine. You need to learn how to be flexible at saying, okay, this day is going to be this day is going to be this day is going to be this. Okay, unfortunately, this actually wound up taking longer, so we're going to cut out this day completely. Maybe we're going to re-theme this day to be more in line with what we were doing yesterday, and that's fine. That is fine. You can do that. It only takes a second. But how you're going to stick to this is by using one of the best features of Google Calendar, integration with Google Tasks. Do not get the Google Tasks app. It's not bad, but there's a much simpler way to do this. So the nice thing about Google Tasks and Google Calendar is that it is a task. So when you put it on there, it literally has a checkbox that you have to click that says, hey, I'm done with this, and then it goes away. If you don't click that checkbox, it will be there every single time you go to look at your calendar. It'll say you have this many tasks pending. So two things that you can do is one, you can schedule Google Tasks for the random little things that you know you're going to forget, which by the way is everything. So if you know that you need to call your doctor before a certain time, you can schedule a time to do it on Google Tasks. And what I recommend doing is bunching all of your management and admin stuff together in one day, where it's like clean the house, do the laundry, call the people, run the errands. Sometimes this takes 2 days and that's fine. But it's all the cleaning, life, ambient, admin work stuff. And what you can do is you can select all day for the time, which is a nice thing too. You can select it so that there's a specific time where it will remind you and say, hey, you have this task or you have to do this task by a certain time. But what you can also do is you can just set it to be all day. And what that will do is it'll keep it at the top and there won't be a scheduled time. You'll just know for that day, I should do this, or it can be a reminder. And if you don't do it, it'll go back into the pending and you'll keep seeing it. This is amazing. This is so nice. Imagine never having to really forget stuff again. That's kind of what it feels like. It's incredible. But the only way that this works is if you do what I'm about to tell you how to do. This is the nicest feature of Google Calendar, is that it has this integration with Google Tasks, but not only that, it has a widget. This is important. You can put the widget on your home screen, so every time you open your phone, you see what tasks you have, you see what appointments are coming up, and you see what your day is themed at. Which, by the way, I forgot to mention earlier, the way that you theme your days is by setting an all-day event, not a task, just a normal event, but checking the all-day button. It's very simple. Anything that's checked as all day is going to live at the top of your calendar, so you won't miss it. Anything that is selected for a certain time is going to be in a block of time, whether it's a task or an event. There's a plus button on this widget where you can add an event or a task easily, right from your home. So the setup that I have is I have my widget, I made it as big as I possibly could, and then I have the productive apps that I actually use, things like banking, a search engine, AI, my notes app for capturing stray thoughts. These things just live on your home screen, and then you make it so that you have to scroll multiple panes over in order to get to something like Discord or Instagram or something like that. Which honestly, you shouldn't even really have these apps on your phone unless you're actually using them for something productive. If you give ADHD an option to screw off, you're going to screw off. You need to take away the option. You will not miss it, trust me. So that's beautiful. That's how you're gonna actually be able to get things done, not have to remember things anymore. I could end the video there. That would be amazing, but I'm gonna make it even better. This one is huge, so important. Get a giant LCD clock that lives right underneath your computer monitor. But my computer already has the time on it. Why would I need that? It's because it's tiny and you don't really look at it, and because you have time blindness, you will get hyper-focused and you will spiral down into a rabbit hole and you won't realize how much time has passed because it takes just a little too much friction to actually check that tiny number. But if you have a big, blaring LCD clock that's right underneath your monitor, it doesn't matter if you want to see it or not, you're gonna see it. You need to always have it basically directly in front of your eyes. And then my recommendation would be to put these in other rooms as well. There will be a link in the description to the clock that I like. And that one's a wall clock. The one that I have sitting under my desk, it's beautiful, it's blue, I love it. It's just an LCD clock I got from Goodwill. But this has saved my ass so many times, it's ridiculous. And it just gives me clarity that I didn't have before. Do this. Go spend $10 on a crappy Goodwill LCD clock, and your entire life will improve. you will gain back so much of your most precious asset. And this is the last one, and this one's huge. If you are being productive, you live on a Pomodoro. If you don't know what a Pomodoro is, it's basically a timer system where you work for a certain amount of time and then you have a break for a certain amount of time. And some of them, the more sophisticated ones, make it so that after a certain number of work intervals, you have a longer break. This is cool if you want to use this. There are free videos on YouTube that you can look up for this. My recommendation is 25, 5, and if you use one with a longer break, you can make that one 1 hour or 30 minutes, depending on where you're at in your productivity journey. If you're a noob, if you're a beginner, if you don't know how to lock in for hours at a time, start with an hour. You're gonna need more breaks. Productivity is a muscle that you build slowly. But this is the rule. If your Pomodoro isn't going, you're actually not being productive. If your Pomodoro is going, you will be doing something productive, because the way it works is when you have that timer, that external pressure, that signal to your brain that, oh, I'm not just in la la land doing whatever I want. I'm supposed to be doing something until this is done. This is called a target. And it's a signal to your brain to actually take it seriously. It's sort of the same effect as a body double, but you're using a clock to do it instead of a human. If you can body double while doing this, even better. Which, if you don't know what body doubling is, it's basically this phenomenon where if you're just working with another person, and I highly recommend that you find a neurotypical to do this with, if you're just working with another person, you'll both be more productive. You don't have to be talking or doing anything, but just knowing that each other is working, it's like you catch each other's energy and there's like an accountability there. And so if you stuck around this long, I'm going to give you one more bonus tip. Set targets, not deadlines. Do not set deadlines. Deadlines are bad. They're yuck. Because what a deadline will do is make you spiral as you approach it and you don't finish it. It's literally in the name. This teaches you to traumatize yourself with work. The only time there is ever a deadline is if you're literally going to die if you don't do something. That's a deadline. If it's anything else, you set a target. It's a target, because I don't care if turning in your homework on time has a quote-unquote deadline. The actual consequence of not doing that is your professor like giving you a sour look. Oh my gosh, so scary. But what you do is you set targets. You set times where you are personally choosing, this is when I want this to be complete. I want to see if I can do it. That way, if you miss the target, guess what? It came out of your desire. So your brain isn't like, why do I suck? Now it's just something where you can reevaluate it. I wonder why I didn't hit my target. And you can learn from this and grow. Very important, helpful skill. This has been going on for a while now, and I respect your time, so I'm going to wrap this up. Whether you like it or not, or know it or not, you are playing the same game as billionaires and millionaires are playing, where you trade your time for value, and then you trade that value for more time. That is the entire pipeline that everybody exists in. If you are not consciously playing this game, start today. You have a lot of catching up to do. Don't be urgent, because urgency is something that kills productivity. It's fear. It's going to make you spiral. It's going to make you make poor decisions. Don't do that. But just be like, oh shit, I better actually respect my time. I better actually play the game that everybody is playing, whether they know it or not, so that I can actually get the best out of my life and so I can give back to my friends and my community. You weren't put here to selfishly serve yourself and to just do whatever you want. You are a soul that was created by God. You're important. He made you special and exceptional by giving you ADHD. This is a curse or a burden that you have to carry, but it is also going to be the reason for your success. Because when you have a burden or a weakness, you have to overcompensate in order to get the same results as everybody. And when you do that, you learn more. So that actually compounds into more exponential growth down the line. For ADHD, growth is slower at the beginning and more exponential down the line. It compounds faster because you have to try harder. So let's do this. Come with me. I'm an ADHD productivity coach. I change people's lives. I'm always putting out videos that add value to your life, to help you save time, to help you become more productive, get a higher ROI, work less and get more. This is a very specific problem to you. Your ADHD affects you immensely, whether you know it or not. So subscribe so my videos get into your feed so you can receive more free value, more free systems, more free coaching and help. If you want to work with me, there's a link down below to have a free session with me. And because you stuck around to the very end of the video, which is super important, down in the description below, I'm going to be giving away one of the most motivating tools I have in my disposal. It's a personal life calendar where you can watch the time tick by in weeks, and you can see the percentage of how far along in your life and how much time you have left. If you set this as your home page in your browser, it is very sobering. You will stop wasting your time. Thank you so much for watching. Share this with somebody else, one of your ADHD friends who needs it, and have a good week. Peace.